Okay, this is test number 2, and we're trying it with 2.5 settings instead of 3.5. For the engineers who know what I mean. All right, and this is the second day of April 2021, the last day of unleavened bread for 2021, and we'll give the Hebrew date once we're live for a second triple stream split test. Here we go. All right, Shabbat Shalom, happy Sabbath for the seventh day of unleavened bread, the last day of unleavened bread 2021. We're trying take 2, our second test tonight of a triple split stream, the kind of stream we've done in the past. We plan on doing double services tomorrow, morning service and afternoon service for the last day of unleavened bread. And if I have to, I've already set up a trial, which I can switch over to a paid service so that we can triple stream as we normally do. But if this test tonight with some different settings not only keeps the stream on, but also if the quality is okay, then we'll be set. Tonight's Bible study will prove that we'll be able to do the morning service and afternoon service, a double service tomorrow, without having to go with the new service. And I already see stream number 3 is lagging on us. So I tell you what, those of you watching on our homepage, cogtv.org, we're going to cut that off and just try our stream on YouTube and Facebook only. I have a way I can just cut off stream 3. So long to y'all on cogtv.org. If you know how to come over to Facebook or YouTube, we're going to try that stream there alone. So we're probably going to do a third test tonight. Let me just cut this one off. Okay, now I've cut off stream 3. That allowed the YouTube stream to say we're getting a signal out there okay. I'm just waiting to see if Facebook Live recovers all right. And so far, Facebook's telling us that we're lagging on Facebook. Even though I've cut off one of the streams. All right, that means what I may do to see if we can recover Facebook. This is a test tonight, even though it's Bible study time. I've spent all week on this and all day today is during the preparation day to try to get this resolved. And I tell you what we're going to do. On YouTube, we're going to have to cut off, and then we'll try a short test on Facebook. And then I'm going to come back and try test 3 with that new service. Okay, so, all right, there goes that. Hey, we got Facebook back for just a moment. I think we are going to have to nip it back, though, because we're going in and out. All right, so YouTube, we're going to sign off YouTube, and we'll be back with a third test later on YouTube. So let's just cut YouTube for the moment. And all right, now that revived us on Facebook, even though at the first part of Facebook we may have had some kind of lagging. It looks like our signal is okay on Facebook now. All right, that tells me whatever happened as of last Friday night, where we have been successfully streaming on triple streaming with the current arrangement we have now, somehow something happened. Maybe it was those 2 tornadoes and our streaming service has had to reroute. I've been on the phone this week with alternate cable services, and one of them were just 1,000 feet too far away to get the Xfinity in here, which I would have liked to have done, but they said stay in touch with them, watch for their trucks. They are expanding their service, even though, some of you have told me you've had problems with AT&T. I have had too, but they are a major service. They are planning on putting fiber in the area, which would make them top out over everybody else. And they told me this week to just watch for the AT&T trucks with the fiber cable in the area. And when we see that, call them back, because then we'll be able to have fiber connection. All right, but on our standard connection, I'm not going to tell you who I'm using because I don't want to promo for them, although they, up till last Friday night, they have provided us good service. But we did have 2 major tornadoes last week, just before Passover, in this area, some destroying some homes totally. Even though the news didn't pick it up nationwide, some of the local papers showed some houses. And when I say totally destroyed, I mean the pictures, you couldn't even tell a house had been there. There's but big piles of rubble in the yard where the whole house was either torn up and some of the rubble left in the yard and some of the other parts of the house blown off who knows where. That happened to my dad maybe 20 years ago with a barn. The house wasn't touched, but a barn out in the back, in which Dad kept the trailer that my mother told me would be mine if I moved back here and helped her and Dad after she fell after a major stroke and hurt her neck and back. And my parents asked me if I'd come back and help them. I am the eldest male son, so I considered that a duty I needed to do, and I was able to keep up, what during the time of scattering, what God had me doing. Not ordained at that time, I was able to say, yes, Mom, I will come back and help you and Dad. And then as it turned out, I wound up helping a 50-year minister in Alabama who was put in the hospital with cancer. And during his stay in the hospital, God told him, when he gets out, I want you to take the banana peeling, banana split, vanity plate, Church of God group name that you've put on your group. I want you to take that off. And he gave him at least a couple of reasons why. And when he announced that to the group, they all fired him. Even though he had started that group and started that name, they all told him, don't come back. We're going to keep this group going in that name. And he had to go get an attorney letter and write that group and tell them, look, none of you there are ordained, and I started that group. God told me to undenominate it or unname it, take the nomination, the name off of it. And because that name is registered to me, I cannot authorize or sanction your use of it. So, and I have to tell you, you need to stop using it. And about 3 weeks later, I guess they talked to their own attorney and found out, hey, we better acquiesce to this. And they brought back tape recordings and songbooks and everything that had that banana split, banana peeling, vanity plate, Church of God group name on it. And they stopped operating in that name, and they eventually it all fell apart. But the minister that I was helping did what God told him to do, told me about it. I said, I'm in perfect harmony with you on it. There are some ministers and people in Pasadena, very few, by the way, one of them who just died 3 weeks ago, or was it 4 weeks ago? Well, I've lost track now. 3 or 4 weeks ago, when Graham Davies died, he was one of them who understood and told me about 1 Corinthians 11:19, or pointed me to 1 Corinthians 11:19 as to what's going on for us during the development of a major apostasy or big falling away. And where that scripture says there must be heresy or as the margin says, errors among you, so that those who are approved may be made manifest. All right, I don't mean to preach a big sermon tonight. I'm just testing, and while I'm testing, it is Bible study time, so a little bit of reference, I think, to some things related to where we are while we're scattered is good for us tonight. And I'm able to see the green light. I've got the light in one corner of the monitor over here next to the camera that's in front of me. So when I look off over here, I'm checking to see our stream light to see we've been solid by cutting off the other two streams. But to have all three streams I'm going to do a third test in a little bit tonight after I okay the company that I was in communication with today, and they offered us a trial, but the trial, well, actually I haven't tried the trial fully yet, but as I tried to set up the trial, it kept telling me, sorry, you need to authorize a paid version. Well, the trial was supposed to give us the paid version for 7 days to check out, but it's not letting us set up. Maybe I selected the wrong trial. Maybe I need to, if it's possible, if they have a trial on the next level up. I was, when spending God's money, which mostly I'm funding at the moment, it comes out of my income to pay some of these ministry bills. Although some of you who helped out last Holy Day, thank you. That cuts out the amount of money I have to take out of my money to pay for ministry service. I always try to do things as thriftily as possible without sacrificing quality. And since the level that I picked looks like it's not going to work, and they give me a trial, I don't have to pay for it today on the annual Holy Day, thankfully. I can just select the next level trial for 7 days, and if that works in my next stream and gets us on all 3 streams for tonight, and then I'll know we'll be able to handle double services tomorrow, 2 Holy Day services, morning and afternoon. We're going to drink it in ritually because those 4 seals are active, and just like when God's end-time apostle Herbert Armstrong first began this era of the work, and he was gung-ho on the high Sabbaths. He would hold at least 2 services, morning and afternoon, and really go at it in both services. And as I understand it, and that was before I came along, but as some of them, I understand from some of the older brethren, he would occasionally do triple services. So you early brethren really got a dose of things as God's end-time apostle was learning things. And one of the things I'll maybe touch on a little bit tonight when we come back for third test is how now we are in the count, and we're on the first of 7 Sabbaths. Today begins the first week of the Feast of Weeks. We're at the end of the first week, even though it's been days of unleavened bread, because the first weekly Sabbath, the triggering Sabbath for the wave sheaf, was 1 week ago on Passover, because the Passover was on a Sabbath this year. That means that Sabbath, that weekly Sabbath, which Passover fell on 1 week ago, becomes the triggering Sabbath for the wave sheaf day, which was this past first day of the week, this past Sunday, as we call it, using the pagan Roman world's naming of the week, which I hate to do. We're not going to be using that terminology after Jesus Christ returns. In this present evil world, everybody's so used to it, it's kind of like a head scratcher. If you say, this is now the 3rd day of the week, people have to say, wait a second. Let me see. The first day is Sunday, second day is Monday, third day so it's Tuesday. You mean it's Tuesday? No, I mean it's the 3rd day of the week. That's the way we're going to be talking about it after Jesus Christ returns. And we should get used to doing that even now, brethren, to be approved of God. Think like He thinks. He doesn't think in terms of this present evil world under the Roman government that became a part of, that allied itself with the Catholic Church and became the Holy Roman Empire. But, that's like calling a counterfeit $20 bill a real $20 bill. It's not real. It's counterfeit. Looks just like it. Most people would accept it and be fooled by it. But not your experts, not your bankers, not certain cashiers who are trained to put them little yellow type markers on it and see whether it glows a certain way or not. Because most people with the standard naked eye, counterfeiters have gotten so good Most people can't tell. And false religion is that way. It counterfeits itself. Even the devil is, we're told in God's Word, transforms himself into what? A devil? No, with horns and a tail and, painted red and all that. No, he comes across as an angel of light in white and as an angel of light. He doesn't paint himself as the devil, so a counterfeit bill doesn't paint itself as play money or monopoly money or, this is counterfeit. No, it says, in God we trust, this is, your real $20 bill money, when it's not. But they make it look like it is. And the devil does the same thing. He pawns himself off as if he were Christ, which he's not. And his religion, he pawns it off as if it were the vicar of Christ, which it is not. And the government, the Roman government, which is now in the abyss, as German Chancellor Angela Merkel recognized. Well, we'll talk about that when I come back for test 2. If you missed it, we don't have it in the archive because of licensing reasons, but last week I played all of the 10 Commandments for those of you who tuned in on our cogtv.org homepage and watched it from there. We played all 4 hours, 3 hours and 50 minutes or so, rounded up to 4 hours. We played the whole 4-hour movie last Holy Day. And because that gives Cecil B. DeMille's version of the 10 Commandments, though he took some literary license, and he made reference to Ramses when we have some information now to understand that they were probably off a couple hundred years on which Pharaoh was in power during the days of Moses being the rescuer out of Egypt of ancient Israel. But we played that whole movie, a very well done movie. Many of you've seen it, but it's a good one to see again once every few years, even once every year. And, I may, let me see, I have that in the queue over here before I go so that I could take a look while we're still streaming live on a Facebook page. I'll just shut up and play some of the movie, and I'm going to take a look at our stream with some different settings I have. We may want to, oh yeah. Well, and if these settings look okay, I may use these settings for the next triple stream test I do by changing some things with that new service. But let me see, where do I have that movie queued up? I have it queued up over here, and let's see. What I want to do, I want to pull it into the place where the Israelites are crossing the Red Sea. If I can get kind of close to that. Let's see, that's in the second half of the movie. Oh yeah, here they go. They're about to head across the ocean there now. This is in public domain, so I can play a little bit of this as long as I put this heading up above it here. Let's pull this out. And while I check the stream settings, get the lower third out of the way, I'm going to play this a little bit for you here while we're testing.
You cannot reach the fire of God. Gather your families and your flocks. We must go with old speed. Go where?
Okay, brother, I'm coming back for just a moment because I see a fault I had with our testing. Let me check something out here. When I turn this down, yeah, the microphone still works. Okay, so, yeah, that's all right. So I'm going to let the movie play for just a little bit more while I go into Facebook and check how the streaming is coming across.
It's no more. No! You'll be dead under them. The Lord...
This part of the movie, by the way, is very similar to a future event where those who are accounted worthy to escape, like the scripture I have on the screen here behind me from Luke 21:36, those accounted worthy to escape are going to go through two big walls at Petra that when Mr. Armstrong saw them, it reminded him of this scene out of this movie where ancient Israel crossed through the Red Sea here. And an army's going to chase modern Israel, but just like ancient Israel was saved by God, God's going to open up the earth and swallow that army in the future. But let me let you watch this part of the movie while I check how our streaming is doing.
Lead them through the midst of the waters. His will be done.
He opens the waters before them, and he bars our way with fire. Let us go from this place. Men cannot fight against a God.
Better to die in battle with a God than live in shame.
Praise God and down into it!
Fire dies.
Sound the pursuit. This is work for a butcher, not a pharaoh. Destroy them all, but bring Moses to me alive.
Rebels, here! Hard!
The chariot! Ah! Run! Run! Run for your life!
Better to serve the Egyptians than to die here.
Who shall withstand the power of God? Thou didst blow with thy winds, and the sea covered them. Who is like unto thee, O Lord? From everlasting to everlasting, thou art God.
All right, brethren, I'm going to cut out on the Ten Commandments right there because we're just doing some testing here tonight, and I'm going to do some more testing even yet tonight. So I'll be back. The main thing is I want to be sure we have some very special things for the daytime portion of this last day of unleavened bread, which it is as of sunset tonight, the seventh day, and this annual Sabbath is also the weekly Sabbath, and we will be back in the morning for the regular service and an afternoon service tomorrow. So we're going to do a double service. And in case you don't catch our next test later tonight, hopefully within the next half hour, maybe sooner, and I'll play a little bit more of the Ten Commandments movie during the testing. And it did look like it was coming across okay. Color looks good, everything. And I've got some very special video tomorrow, including God's End Time Apostle speaking tomorrow with some from days of unleavened bread when he was alive. So we have some very special edifying things for this day. Double service tomorrow. I'm going to use a little bit of tonight to make sure we can triple stream tomorrow for those who watch on YouTube, those of you who watch on Facebook, and for those who are starting to watch directly from our homepage, cogtv.org, in that first window, which is a live stream window. You still have to press the play button while we're live, but it's right on our homepage just in case these big mega social media companies decide to flex their censor muscle against God's truth. Will be on our homepage at cogtv.org, no matter what those in the power of these big social media companies that a lot of us have benefited by being able to contact one another on these social media outlets while we've been scattered and divided by many divisions that ministers have done of the church during this time of scattering. And it's been a blessing, but it's a blessing that, just like a former president found out, can be yanked out from under you, whoosh, all of a sudden. So once in a while, those of you watching on Facebook, if you go check out our cogtv.org, that's why I'm adding a new service to make sure we can triple stream and be on Facebook, be on YouTube, maybe even open up Twitch and a few other channels, but primarily be consistently on cogtv.org on the homepage, just in case of censorship. You know, they can't cut us off our homepage, even if we have to switch streaming providers, which I'm in the process of working on. This I've been working on this week. We're going to try a test with one of them later tonight. So let me stop that playing in the background and go. We will close out with our normal closing out type music here, and then the plan is, after one more test tonight, to have double services in the morning and in the afternoon this Sabbath for this last day of unleavened bread, seventh day of unleavened bread, 2021. And I think I went the wrong way. I meant to go to the more close-out style of music, unless it hung up on us. Let's see. It's not letting me change that for some reason. I may have to just close out with a little bit of this music. So thanks for joining us for this testing tonight, and hope you'll join us for the double service, last day of unleavened bread. In the morning, 9:30 a.m. Central Time, 10:30 Eastern Time. And then we'll tell you during that service when we'll be back in the afternoon tomorrow. Meantime, get a good night's rest. Happy Sabbath for this annual Sabbath, seventh day of unleavened bread. Shabbat Shalom.